Hey everybody, it's Mike
And Cheryl.
with Hendrick Studios.
Welcome to Hendrick Studios today. Happy Saturday. Go ahead and put that up here.
Oh, alright, I'm going to put this up here.
We're doing a project today for Hendrick Studios and Divas Get Crafty. And we're supposed to be live, but we had some issues come up, so we're doing it on video. What we're doing today is we're going to make a fabric door hanger with pine cones on it because it's Christmas in July. So you will need some 2.5-inch ribbon. I have 3 pieces cut in 16 inches and 3 pieces cut in 18 inches. Just strips, just as you see. You'll need 7 pine cones. They don't have to be painted, but you can paint them if you want to. I did. Just make sure the pine cones that you're using have been either professionally bought from the store and have been treated for cleaned and sanitized, because you never know what kind of creepy crawly is hanging out in a pine cone if you pick them out of the backyard. But you can do that at home in your oven and so forth. So, vinegar and water. Let them soak for 3 to 6 hours. Take them out. Let them dry a little bit. Put them in the oven until they're dry for 2 hours, and that'll open up the pine cones. When you get pine cones wet, they close. And when you dry them, they open. And then they're bug-free, and you don't have to worry about them because they've been through the oven and they've been cleaned. Then you can paint them. It takes a little while to paint them. You can paint them with a brush. You can dip the pine cones. You can do anything you want. You can add more. You can add glitter. You can add any color you want. We're doing the black and white theme today, so they're painted white. So, first thing I want you to do is lay all your little strips out. Oh, you need a glue gun? Turn your glue gun on. Gotta have a glue gun. Oops, some more ones. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our biggest pine cone, because that's the one we always want to work with first. And we're going to glue it right here. So it hangs right there, and we're going to glue the whole thing flat. Don't get excessive with your glue though, because it's just ribbon and it'll soak through. On my table it's cool because it's a craft table, but if you're doing it on this kitchen table, you might not want to do that. And then just make sure it's held down. This is a low-tack glue gun, but I've managed to burn myself off of it, so just be careful. And you're going to do that with all your pine cones. I just like the biggest one on, because it's going to be at the base. So the biggest one needs to be on the longest piece of ribbon if you have something that's a little long. I tend to put the bigger pine cones on the longer pieces because they're going to hang down further on the wall. And again, it's just hot glue, so just be careful. Don't break the pine cone. Now you can glue down these little edges if they bother you. They bother me, so I'll be gluing them down. And again, just be careful not to get burned. These glue guns are... all my glue guns don't work like I think they're going to. They do their own thing. Then when I'm not surprising me, the glue burns me or the gun burns me. But that's okay. So as you can see, I'm putting it about 3/4 of the way across the pine cone. And do that with all your pieces. I always try to keep my fabric going the same way, pattern-wise. That's just me. You don't have to. Now, you don't need to use a 7 pine cone if it doesn't need it. Mine seemed to need it, so, whoops. Doing the exact same thing I should have done. There we go. My pattern's now going the right direction. And then I'll trim off the excess parts down here. anything that doesn't work out will get cut off. Like this part, for example. In fact, we can do that right now. Stuff like that bugs me, so it's got to go. As you see, I've already got glue on my table. That's why you don't want to do this on your kitchen table. And when you put them on, do consider how they're going to hang. So if you got a flat side like this one, aim that towards you because that's going to hang against the door. So if your pine cone isn't a perfect pine cone, which mine are never perfect, you can do that. Because these are God's made pine cones, so each has their own little characters and tendencies, little characteristics. Okay, so you got all that done. Don't do anything with your 7 pine cone. Now take your 3 longest ones and put them down. Put them down. Move this forward just a little bit. Okay. And position your biggest pine cone in the center. The biggest one is this one. Get your other pine cones, set them up about 2 inches bigger. What we're going to do is we're going to hang them up. Oops. We're going to hang them like this. So they're going to hang down, so you want that 2 inches leeway so it doesn't run into them. Okay, now that I've set them up, I'm going to scoot them out of the way so I can glue them together. So now I'm taking the top strip and gluing it to the back strip. And I will be cutting the excess off. Don't get super excessive with your glue, and I usually do it at not the top because I'm going to fold this over to make a hanger. My wire has big, or my ribbon is a wide mesh. That's why my glue is coming through. And I'm going to do the same thing with all 3 of those. Now you want the outside ones to generally match up height-wise, so make sure you got your distance about the same. Depending on how your pine cones look. Okay, so now we're down to 3 of these. Yay! It's easy. Okay, so this is my big one. This is my centerpiece. This is the one that's going to be slightly off center, so we're going to angle it like that. And then we angle this one like that. And I do want the centerpiece to be in the back. Then we're going to glue those 3 together. So since they're positioned where I think I want them, we're just going to glue right on top of the very last piece. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'll show you in a second. No, you can't see it. It's off screen. Sorry. Just Just make sure you're doing pretty much the same angles when you put them on, because that's how it's going to hang on the wall. Okay, so what I did off camera that you couldn't see is I took all 3 of these and I glued them together with just a strip of hot glue. Need to wait a second for them to be done. Especially before you hold it up, because you don't want to drop it and have the pieces fall apart. And then they'll burn you as always, because that's what happens. Respect the hot glue. I have a really hard time doing that, so I keep reminding myself. And so now you can see it hangs. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, you can see it's hanging. Whoops. It's kind of tricky to work with right now, but that's okay. So that's what it looks like. Now I've gone ahead and made a bow dabber bow. You can make any bow that you want. So I have a bow here that I have pre-made. And it's just the same ribbon, which is wire on the edges so that it keeps its form. So I'll fluff it up a little. And we're going to hot glue that to the center. Yeah. Some things just don't want to cooperate. Actually, before we do that, we don't want to glue that on just yet. We want to put our hanger on. My hanger is twine, because it works. And I usually take about a piece about 20, 24 inches long. Fold it in half. Find the back side where the glue line is here. And this is where I'm going to fold it. Make sure you get all 3 pieces. Then we'll take that, whoops. I'm going to weigh this down because I can see it's going to flip. I just don't want glue everywhere. And I'm going to put my string like I said, I'm really good at burning myself. If it can be done, I can do it. And then I just want to fold it over onto itself. Hold that down. But don't push it against the other pieces as you're holding it down, because you don't want it to run through and stick. Again, that will depend on how well made your mesh wire is. Okay, so now this is the front. And I can tie it off. And that way I have a built-in hanger. And I'm not going to tie it all the way off and cut it off yet, because I want to make sure it's where I want it to be before I cut off my parts. So I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to put it right there at the top, so that when it hangs, you see that at the top. Okay, it's right on that line. And just remember, when you're gluing this down, that those little parts are going to move on you, so make sure you get it where you want it. And I wanted it on that knot. So I'm just going to hold it there for a second. I know I'm gluing it to the table, because I am. And it's centered up there. And then I can fluff my little bow however I need to fluff it. Sometimes it takes a minute, so just hold it down. Quit playing with it like I do. And then we're going to add some decoration to it. Some holiday color here. We have some of this red stuff. This is a glitter pick from either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. And you can get all this at your local craft store, whether it's a Hobby Lobby, Michael's, I don't think Dick Blick has pine cones, but they might.
No.
Joann's,
Those three.
those are the ones out here in Nevada. I'm in Nevada, so I know my stores. I know back east they got Maynard's. I don't know how far back east, but I know they got a Maynard's. I've never been to a Maynard's. I don't know. And then you can always order it offline if you can't find what you need locally. So. And I made this with a Bodabra because I have carpal tunnel and it does all the work for me pretty much. It holds everything still. I just got to tie it off. Alright, so I have a little pick here that I really like using. I just need to add a little bit more stuff to it. Not sure I like this little red ball though. I do like the little red glittery stuff and the little poinsettia. I'm going to take the little that off. I tend to rearrange things and take them apart just because I don't necessarily like how things are looking. Hey, Rusty. I can't let you out right now. Go talk to Daddy. Mike, can you let that dog out, please? Thank you. I also have a white one if we don't want to go with the red. That's kind of cool too. This is 2 pieces. This is a metal one, and then it's got connected. It's connected. So this is from the dollar store. These are off of a plant, a fake plant. I buy lots of things. I think I like that a little better. But I like it with the green in the background. So I am going to take this one apart. Now you could have stuck it on there the way that it was, but I don't do that. Not generally. Actually, there's 3 little parts sitting here inside. Thing about glitter stuff like this though is your table's always a glittery mess when you're done. Just be prepared. Oh. It's got wire in it. I'm going to put this down first, because otherwise I tend to change my mind. I'm just going to go under that section of the bow. Try not to get too excessive with your glue because it does go everywhere. Double check to make sure everything's sticking down. Now I am applying the glue to the top of the ribbon part of the, the ribbony part of the bow here that hangs down. Just a game of waiting for it to stick. That's very glittery. I like it. I'm going to put that on top. Yes, I'm essentially assembling the same bow I just had, or setup I had, but you'll see here shortly that it will be slightly different. Now, because this is the top of the bow and I don't want it to all be level, flat, I want one of these leaves to go up. Diversity in your shapes. How do we like that? like it with white. So we're going to go with white. Now because I have these leaves down here, oops, it's still a little damp on the glue. I don't need that part, so I can pull that off. And I'm going to cut this silver part off. I think, yeah, it's going to stick up too high, so I'm going to cut it off. Technically, I can pull these apart if I wanted to. I don't want to. Okay, so that's down. I'm going to put this back in the center. And I don't want this little silver thing in the center because I'm not going to see it and it's going to interfere with the spacing. If you don't like how the leaves are laying, you can cut them off and glue them on separately. I think this will work okay for me today though. This looks riveted down, so I'm not going to take this little hooky off. To hook my jingle bells. Make sure I do like that before I put that on there. Which do you like better? Green? I think I like the green. It kind of makes it brighter. I always combine them. Green. If you think you need more flowers, go ahead and get another one. We will see if I like this or not. If I think it's too much. Might be too fluffy. Don't want to get too fluffy. There's no glitter on that one leaf. I would have to remove that one. I like it better with more. So I'm going to cut that one off. I'm going to cut all these off separately and put them on where I want them. Also, doing it this way, you can make the flower more dimensional because you can position them where you want. Watch out for little glue strings. Oh, the way to get rid of all the little stringy things to glue when you're done is just take a blow dryer to it. It just curls them right off and they disappear. I think they just melt up into nothing. That leaf can be tossed. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to put this. I'm going to bend it slightly because you can. You don't have to keep it flat. It is metal. You can do what you want with it to give it a little bit more dimension. Don't bend it too much because it's a very thin metal. And then we're just going to put that in there. Like so. Figure out which way you want it. I like the green leaf facing up, so we're going to do it that way. Sorry, I went that way. Up is up, right? Even if it's to the left. Now you can use any type of pick that you want in the center. I did one of these in red, and I don't have a centerpiece board after I did it because the red, the colors I had did not work because the colors were just too dark. Alright, I want this in there. So I'm going to cut it up. Because I like the red sparkle. It adds contrast to it. And helps tie in whatever that is. This is total plastic here, so don't get excessively carried away with your glue. Oh, my flower's doing this. And I'm just going to put that in under there so that it pokes out just a little bit. Do allow everything time to dry. And this is made for indoors because it is a hot glue. If I was doing outside, I'd have to use some different adhesive that would make it a little more durable, at least out here in here. We don't get a lot of rain here. And we get whole 4 inches a year, so there we go. And that helps set the color off of the ribbon. What do you think, Mikey?
I like it.
It's okay?
Yeah,
Hanging
I
okay?
like it. I think it looks good.
Do we need the 7th pine cone here? I don't think so.